No Michael Myers? Well, that's no problem. Today we're talking about Season of the Witch, so let's get spooky. Greetings everyone, my name is Nightshade, this is The Night Shift, a home for all things spooky, and today we're looking at Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch, released in 1982. So after seemingly killing off Michael Myers in Halloween 2, John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, and Tommy Lee Wallace wanted to go a different direction with the Halloween franchise. They had the idea of turning the third one into sort of an anthology series where it's just separate stories all surrounding Halloween. Each movie would feature a different story with a completely different cast. And they wanted to start off that idea with Halloween 3, The Season of the Witch. Now, even though there is no Michael Myers in this film, it's still a pretty decent Halloween film. And it is absolutely one of my all-time favorites. And the storyline is quite out there, but God, it's a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, before I get into the review, I want to let you guys know how I do my reviews. I don't do this as a video essay and go beat for beat with the story, telling my criticisms along the way. Instead, what I do is I break this down into two categories, the positives and the negatives. So that way, in order to understand what I'm talking about, understand the references that I'm making, you have to go watch the movie for yourself, get your own informed opinions, come back here and check out the video, and we can geek out about our favorite horror movies down in the comments below. So now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the review, starting with... So the first positive on my list is going to be, and the story goes as follows. Man abandons his wife and children to flirt with a young woman and follows her on a perilous adventure to stop an evil madman who stole Stonehenge so he could use it to attach the magic into three masks, a skull, a witch, and a jack-o'-lantern, which, when a certain commercial comes on television, will turn their heads into snakes and bugs. And that's the story in a nutshell, and it is absolutely batshit insane. And that's not like one of those exaggerated, explaining films badly type of situations. No, I think I explained it pretty thoroughly as to how this plays out. And I didn't even mention the murder robots. Like, it's absolutely batshit crazy and insane, but I love it very much. Honestly, I know that's probably not everybody's cup of tea, and fair enough, but like, holy shit. I mean, it's a fun story. It's out there for sure. Like, if you're not into that type of stuff, fair enough. But, I had a lot of fun watching this movie. It is extremely out there for sure. And if I were to fathom a guess as to like the meaning of this film, it's probably commenting on, the dangers of capitalism. The things that we consume will consume us type of situation. John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, and Tommy Lee Wallace are all kind of like the hippie types, so it makes sense that that would be the main message of the film. But the other takeaway that you could take from this is that men will do literally anything to get laid. Like, seriously, if Tom Adkins' character, Dr. Chalice, was impervious to wanting to get laid, this movie would not have happened. So up next on my list of positives is... Dean Cundey reprises his role as main cinematographer, and he does, yet again, another excellent job. Seriously, the dude's one of my favorite cinematographers of all time. And even though this is a departure from the Michael Myers universe, it still has the same vibe because, Dean Cundey still has his own staple style, and it blends the two worlds together nicely, I would say. So up next on my list of positives, we have... the three masks in this film, known as the Halloween 3 in this universe. You see what they did there? This is Halloween 3 and they're called the Halloween 3. You see what they did there, didn't you? Yeah, you saw what they did. Now, these masks are comprised of a witch, a skull, and a jack-o'-lantern. Now, the witch and the skull were already in existence. However, they did create one original mask, which was the jack-o'-lantern. And the masks were created by Don Post Studios, who also created the Captain Kirk mask that was used in Halloween 1 and 2. But I do love all three masks that were used in this film. I actually used to own, I don't know if it was an original, but like back in the early 90s, I used to have one of those Dom Post skulls. And I kept it for a long time until I left it at my friend's house, and that ended up getting caught on fire, and I lost it in a house fire, and that is very unfortunate. But I do love all of these masks, and honestly, I need to get some of these masks and keep them in the background here. Wish I would have thought about that before shooting this video, but you know, we're already here. It's much too late to order one now, but yeah, I love all the masks in this film, especially the skull. I would say the skull is probably my favorite, and then the jack-o'-lantern would be my second favorite, and then, you know, the third favorite being the witch. Moving right along, we have my next positive, which is, I'd say we got a really good cast in this film. There's not any one person that stands out as being bad or annoying at all. We got Tom Atkins as Dr. Chalice, and I mean, he's just an all-American, beer-drinking, cigarette-smoking, ass-chasing son of a bitch. Tom Atkins is Dr. Chalice in this film, like, kind of makes the whole movie for me. And then we got Stacey Nelkin, who is Ellie Grimbridge, and, you know, she plays the innocent sort of love interest for Dr. Chalice. And then we got Dan O'Herlihy, who is, you know, Connell Cochran, and he is one of my all-time favorite horror movie baddies. Like, honestly, this guy should have been in like a James Bond film, because he really does sell that evil bad guy type of vibe very well.
You don't really know much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy.
It sucks that he's not an actual Bond villain, but, you know, he more than makes up for it in this film here, because it is very much like world domination type of energy, and I love it. He's an awesome character. So up next on my list, we have... So Dr. Chalice went through a lot of shit. After everything that, you know, Dr. Chalice goes through, he abandons his family. Let's not forget that he did that. He stops the evil mask maker in his tracks. Finds out that the person that he abandoned his family for was a murder robot at some point. And he ended up getting a majority of the commercials that would turn kids' heads into bugs and snakes. He got a majority of those pulled off the air. However, it does sort of end on a cliffhanger ending, because, you know, there is still one of those commercials out there, and the movie ends with him screaming, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!" And it just leaves you in that moment of suspense. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't give you any definitive answers. Tommy Lee Wallace doesn't give anybody any definitive answers as to what happened at the end of Halloween 3. However, you know, Tom Atkins has a very sunny disposition about the ending of Halloween 3.
I think they do turn off that final television channel, and all the kids of the world are saved. Yeah.
You're an optimist.
I am.
But it does end on sort of a downer, and, you know, I think I'm just a fan for downer endings, because those are always the best in my book. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows, you know. Sometimes things end on a pretty sour note, and I appreciate it whenever, you know, movies go that route with it, rather than everybody is in a happy and blissful state after everything they went through, and, you know, good wins in the end. I'm not necessarily a fan of those types of endings, so, you know, whenever we get a little bit of like a cliffhanger like this one was, I always appreciate it. Now that all of that is out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to... And honestly, this is going to be much like my Halloween review, where there is no negative. At least not for me personally. However, much like the Halloween review, I will concede a few points that other people might find to be negative. Like I stated in the cold open of this video, there is no Michael Myers. Like, if you're one of those people that wanted to watch a Michael Myers film and didn't get a Michael Myers film, you're gonna have a few grievances with this. I mean, he only shows like, he is in it technically. He's shown for a brief second on a commercial, but this isn't a Michael Myers film, and for some people that's gonna rub them the wrong way. I was the same way whenever I was in like 5th grade watching this for the first time, and I saw it again, you know, probably at the end of middle school or my freshman year of high school, and watching it on its own merit without expecting Michael Myers and knowing that Michael Myers isn't in it, I had a great time, and it's quickly gone up my list for one of my all-time favorite, just, you know, Halloween season, Halloween-based movies. And yeah, I really enjoy it, and I watch it a lot of Halloweens. And my light just died over there, so let's go ahead and tilt this way. But I'm getting sidetracked. Another thing that people might not enjoy about this is the story. Like I said, it is kind of out there, and if you don't like it for the storyline, that's fair. That's fair game. You know, not everybody is going to like absurd things, but you know, I do. And the last point that I will concede that not everybody's gonna like is probably the Silver Shamrock jingle. I used to absolutely hate that shit because it would get stuck in my head for days and days and days, and oh my god, it used to drive me absolutely batshit. But it has since grown on me, and it was actually my call tone for the longest time. But aside from all that, it is a really good movie. It is like, I wish it would have gotten the traction back in the day. Like right now, people are finding more appreciation for Halloween 3 than they did, you know, whenever it was first released, and it was pretty much seen as a flop whenever it first released. And you know, but here lately, within like the past, you know, 10, 15 years, it's really got its traction, and it's starting to find its fan base, and you love to see it. I really love, you know, that people are coming around to this movie because it's a fun one. There's a lot of fun to be had, a lot of shenanigans, and you know, I love it. I love it. So with all of that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. I would have loved for the anthology idea to continue and doing different Halloween themed horror movies based around Halloween and doing it that way. You know, but, you know, at the same time, I'm really glad that they ended up getting Michael Myers back because, you know, I love me some Michael Myers. He is my favorite. And on Friday, we're going to talk about his return with Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. And I'm going to film that directly after filming this, so that's just going to about do it for me for right now. If you like the video, let me know by leaving me a like. Comment down below what you want to see on the channel next. I will do my best to accommodate. I really will. And until next time, my name is Nightshade. This has been The Night Shift, and I will see you in the next video. Stay spooky, my friends.